Friends, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Today we are going to solve another very recent SQL coding problem 3586 on Leetcode. Find COVID recovery patients. This is a medium complexity recent problem on Leetcode. So we are going to go through this problem. We are going to understand this problem with some examples, and then we are going to implement our SQL solution to solve this coding problem. So let's start. So patient's table is given to us. It has three columns in it, right? Patient ID is int, patient name varchar, age is int. Patient ID is the unique identifier for this table, and each row contains patient's information, right? Then COVID test is another table where test ID is a unique identifier here. Patient ID refers to the patient ID here, right, of the patient's table. Then test date is date and result is a varchar. Each row represents a COVID test result. The result can be positive, negative, or inconclusive. Okay. So these are the tables. Write a solution to find patients who have recovered from COVID. Patients who tested positive but later tested negative. Okay. A patient is considered recovered if they have at least one positive test followed by at least one negative test on a later date. Calculate recovery time in days as the difference between the first positive test and the first negative test after the positive test. Okay. Only include patients who have both positive and negative test results. Return the result table ordered by recovery time in ascending order and then patient name in ascending order. So these are the constraints. They told us that this is what we want to find out, the COVID recovery patients basically with these constraints, right? Uh, so we'll go through their example. So what they are saying here is, so that patient that we want to find, he should be basically first at least positive once and then at least negative later once, right? And we have to find out the first dates difference basically. So we'll understand this better with this example they have, right? So you can see that the tables are given to us, patients and COVID test, and in the output Ali Smith is the first patient who recovered from COVID, right? So ID is 1, Ali Smith. Now you can see here in the COVID test results is positive first for Ali Smith and then it turned out to be negative, correct here. So how many days? So January 15th and January 25th. So 10 days it took her to recover basically. As you can see here, 10 days is the recovery time, correct? So this is what we want to find out for all the patients who have recovered. The other patient is Carlos David, number 3, Carlos Davis. And so it's here basically. So he is negative here, Carlos, then he became positive here, you can see, and then he became negative here, correct? Okay, so first positive is February 10 and February 20 is the first negative. Again, how much? 10 days, right? 10 days he took to became negative and recover from the COVID. So the last one is Bob Johnson. So Bob Johnson is number 2 here. So number 2 is here is the number 2. So positive is here. So he became positive here, and then it is inconclusive. So we cannot consider this one. And then he became negative here. So what is the date difference? This is the 1st of February, and this is the 12th of February, right? So it means that it took him 12 days actually, or 11 days in fact. So 12 minus 1 is 11. So 11 days it took him to recover basically, right? So that's what we want to find out. So I hope you understood this with this example. So how did we find it out? So we first found out the date where he first became positive, correct? So first he became positive, that date we find out here, right? And then what we did, we find out a date when he became negative after the positive. So this is the date where he became negative after the positive, right? So these two dates we found out. So after that we can basically use, when we are writing SQL query, we can use a date diff function, right? And then identify the difference between the days. And we can use the common table expression, which is CTEs in MySQL, so that we can we can modularize our queries, right? Rather than writing a very big query, we can write two different queries. One is when the patient is becoming positive first time, right? and then when the patient is becoming negative first time, right, after he became positive, right, after he became positive, that is a very important thing, that he should become negative after he became positive, then only we will consider it, right. And then we can calculate the difference using date diff, and we should use the min function to find out that minimum date, basically, which is the first date, right. Why first date? Because you will see that recovery time is the difference between the first positive date. So he can become positive multiple times, but we want that first date actually when he became positive, and we want the first date when he became negative after the positive date, correct, after the positive date. So this is how you can write down this SQL query. So let's understand these queries in detail. So these are two common table expressions. The first one is first positive. So let's take a look. So here we are selecting patient ID mean test as a first positive date, right, from COVID test, where result is equal to positive, group by patient ID. So we are grouping by patient ID, that's why we can use a mean function. So mean test date, so that you will get the first date actually when he became positive, right, that patient. So this is one CTE, which is a common table expression in MySQL. Then this is another CTE we have. So in another CTE, what we are doing, we want to find out when he is becoming negative first time after he became positive, okay, after he became positive. So how we will do that? You will just, so now one other important thing here is we are using our first positive here, right. So you are joining COVID test CT with a first positive that we created here, and you are joining it on patient ID, because patient ID is a common column between both, correct. Now here you are selecting again a patient ID from COVID test, and then you are selecting a minimum COVID test date as a first negative date, where test result should be the CT dot result should be negative. It means that he is turning negative. And from positive, how we will assure the COVID test dot test date now should be greater than your first positive date, FP dot first positive date. Here we got that first positive date, right. So it means that he was first positive and then he is turning negative, okay, that is what it means basically, right. And you have to group it by ct dot patient id, so that you can use the min function on it, right. So min is the test date, so that we can find out the first date when he became negative, okay, first date when he became negative. But remember that he actually became positive before that, and how we assure that? By using this one, right. So ct dot test date is greater than fp dot positive date, right. So it means that he's turned negative, right. So now these are the two cities we have created here. So these are the common table expressions. Now we will be using these in our main SQL query. So this is the way you can do modularization, right. So you will see here in the from clause, from first positive and join first negative after positive on fp dot patient id is equal to fn dot patient id, because patient id is common column between these tables, and you are again joining it with patient's table on again patient id, because patient id is the common column between all these tables, correct. What you are selecting here, you are selecting patient id, you are selecting patient name, you are selecting the patient age, and here you are selecting the recovery time. How you are selecting? By taking a difference, date diff function you will use. What difference you will choose? You will choose the difference between the fn dot first negative date and fp dot first positive date, because the date difference, for example, you are choosing difference between this 212 here when he became negative and a 21 here when he became positive, so that you can calculate that 11 days difference, right. Okay, and fp is for first positive, and fnp is for and fn is for first negative, correct. So after that, these are the aliases we use, and order by recovery time in ascending order, and patient name in ascending order, correct, because that's what they want us here. So return the result table order by recovery time in ascending order and patient name in ascending order, right. So exactly what we are doing here. So now give it a try. Let this SQL run and make sure the test cases passed. So as you can see here, test cases are passed. Now you can see that we are getting correct result as expected versus our result is matching correctly, and it's finding correct days difference also, right, as a recovery time. So let us go ahead now, submit this query to the Leetcode and make sure the Leetcode accepts this query. And as you can see here, the Leetcode still evaluating. So it accepted the query. It is almost 87% faster than other submissions. It's on MySQL query to solve this important recent coding problem 3586 find COVID recovery patients. So how we have modularized query, we first find out the first positive uh, patients who became positive first time, the first dates, and then we created one another CTE for first negative after positive, right? And how we made sure that, because we have this condition here where we are putting the ct.test date should be greater than the fp.first positive date, right? So it means that he is becoming negative after he was tested positive before, correct? And then this is our main SQL query where we have used the date diff to calculate the recovery time of COVID for those patients. And we have also joined all these different cities along with our patients table here, as you can see, and order by we used for the sorting. So this is it basically. So as long as you know, uh, we also use mean function and group by, just to remember. As long as you know these things, then you can easily write down these kind of sequels. Make sure you practice writing common table expressions or cities. It makes life a lot easier here to write. Rather than writing a huge big query, you can divide the query into multiple common table expressions and call those common table expressions in your main SQL query, so that it's a much cleaner solution. So I hope you completely understand today's problem here that we have discussed with this example. And if this video helped you understand this SQL query with this example, then please give it a thumbs up to this video, give it a like to this video, subscribe to this channel. Your subscription is very valuable and important for our channel. It really helps and supports this channel. Here we create content to help others in their coding and Java and SQL interviews by showing them how to solve different problems. It takes a lots of efforts to create these examples, to create these videos, and to come up with these solutions for demo. So if you really want to appreciate our efforts, try to be generous, give it a like to the video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell notification icon button right away so you won't miss any interesting and important videos like this one. We frequently post videos on this channel for other people so that others can also learn and they can also get help in their interview preparation process. If you are a Java developer, then there are lots of Java related videos we have posted that you can use to learn more algorithms and data structures and problem solving. The important playlist that you should watch is graphs, matrices, binary search trees, binary trees, problems solved by using binary search, dynamic programming, recursion, memoization, how to use and apply BFS and DFS on graphs, trees and matrices. So don't forget to watch them out. Those are important problems from interview perspective. There are a lot of interesting and important playlists on the data structure such as tax queues, priority queues, minheap and maxheap. So do check them out. You will definitely like them and you will definitely learn a lot by watching those videos, and you will also learn programming and implementation on this channel. Keep learning, keep coding, keep solving more varieties of coding problems, and most importantly keep practicing different varieties of problems. Thanks for watching this video and have a great day ahead.